Hi everyone, I'm Kyonta Smith. I'm an architect in the Birmingham office, and I'm here with Jane Reed Ross, an awesome landscape architect, also here in our Birmingham office. And we're here because of National Women's Equality Day in August on the 26th. And we just wanted to give you a introduction to Jane and let her talk about her experiences and our experiences as women in the construction industry. So Jane, can you talk a little bit about yourself and introduce who you are to people who may not know you?
Sure, I'd be glad to. Thank you, Kyonta. I'm Jane Reed Ross. I'm a landscape architect, and it's hard to believe, but I've been working as a landscape architect for about 40 years now. I went to school at Auburn University, and I worked as an intern in Washington, D.C. while I was in school, and then moved and worked in D.C. for a number of firms for several years, and then moved south and worked for a series of firms here in Birmingham, Alabama. Then had my own business for about 15 years, and then landed with GMC, and I've been with them for about 12 years. And our main focus is public spaces, parks, trails, campuses, streetscapes, all the work in the public space that brings people together and builds community.
So over 40 years in the industry, so that's plenty of time to have amassed some stories. You've heard things, seen things throughout that amount of time, so especially related to women's equality. So can you speak to some of your experiences related to that?
Sure, I'd be glad to. It's interesting that we're talking about this because for so long it was taboo. You really could not talk about it. And that's probably one of the biggest things is that now we're able to have a conversation about it. But 40 years ago, 30 years ago, 25 years ago, we didn't talk about it. You know, it was just, you ignored it. But probably one of the most memorable experiences for me as far as discrimination was my first job experience as a student at Auburn. I was working in Washington, D.C., and it was 1980, and I landed an interview and then an eventual job with the site planning department in the Veterans Administration. And so, I was so excited. It was really great to have a job, period, in a recession at that time. And we've been through several recessions since then, but that job was so important to me. It really jump-started my career, and it meant a great deal to me. And I was so excited to be working in the nation's capital, and just a couple of blocks from the White House. But I found out several weeks after I started that job that the 12 male landscape architects that I worked with had protested my hire and had marched to the department head to try to have that job taken away. They said that I would destroy their studio dynamic, and productivity, and it's going to be horrible. And that department had pretty much told them that times were changing and they needed to adapt to the situation. So I kept my job, and that was before they even ever met me. They hadn't even seen me at that point. I came on board very enthusiastic, willing to learn and learn how to be a landscape architect. And I worked there 2 summers, and by the end of the second summer, those very same men that had protested my hire gave me a going away party. We had bonded, we made friends, we kept in touch for many years, and it was a huge learning experience for all of us, really, on different levels. But that was the beginning of change for that entity as well as for me professionally.
So given what you just talked about and those particular obstacles that you had to go through, are you seeing now that things are changing? And if so, how so, and for the good or indifferent?
There have been a lot of changes since I started working. One of them is business clubs like Rotary or Kiwanis. Women were not allowed into 1987. That's pretty amazing because a lot of business networking occurred in those clubs, and women didn't have access to it. So, how could you advance with your network? Women are allowed now, and I'm a Rotarian, and one of our projects, the Rotary Trail in the Magic City, is one of our biggest projects, most visible projects, and that project was born out of those relationships. So that really speaks to the importance of women being included in the workplace as well as in the social networks that are involved. Yeah.
And that's a phenomenal job that you guys did, and a new Birmingham landmark, so you should be very proud.
We are. We love that project. You know, there's a famous ad in the 70s, you've come a long way, baby. And we have come a long way. It's no longer novel to see women in the workplace. Everybody is accepting of this, yeah. And it's great. It's just huge to come from a place where it was unusual and people were awkward. We've left those days. So, you know, there's always room for improvement and we can always strive to do better. But it's tremendous how much change we have had. You know, no one ever it's been decades since someone has said something like, do you feel bad because you're taking a job away from a family man? Or, where's your boss? You know, are you the one that I have to deal with?
Can you go grab some coffee?
Yeah, could go grab some coffee.
Right.
We can rattle off a long
Yes,
list
a
of
whole
things.
Right.
But, you know, now we enjoy really strong camaraderie in the workplace and enjoy all the members of our company. And it's you know, it's fun. I love coming to work. I love all the relationships we have and the projects we work on, and I love that we focus on building community, and that's what it's really all about. And diversity, because the more you understand about our community and include more people, the stronger we are and the better we are at getting things built and implemented.
I totally agree. Well, thank you, Jane. Anyone who's ever worked with you, I know we're proud. I'm very proud of being able to speak with you and work with you. So it's really a treat having you at the Birmingham office. And again, everybody, please don't forget Women's Equality Day is August 26th. So see your coworkers, see your neighbors, give them a hi, and help celebrate with the D&I committee. Thank you so much.